I've had a few theories for the way Valve releases major stickers. This was never a big discussion point until our recent major stickers. Valve finally approving borderless stickers. The newest stickers look terrible. And on a side note, somehow PGL locked in 2 majors in a row despite running some of the worst events we have ever seen. But maybe it's our fault. To hopefully step into the minds of Valve, we need to go back, way back. If we go too far back, we find this. We don't like this. Go forward a bit. That's much better. The test run for major stickers. Small quantity purchased by the community, a pillar of the Counter-Strike market. Here are the 4 major stickers to come afterwards. One consistent trend is that each major had a different design, and this continued for years. Valve understood that repeating the same design for each major would eventually become stale. This is why Katowice 2014 is so special. It's also why collections like DreamHack 2014 and Atlanta 2017 are unique. 2 years ago, a survey was done on Reddit with 1,700 responses. Although opinions have likely changed in 2022, it's good data to look at. We obviously have Katowice 2014 as the #1 option, and it will stay there until the end of time. Cologne 2014 ranks 11th, Dignitas and DATS are cool, but outside of those two, it's fair to say that the stickers are pretty weak. DreamHack 2014 is 8th, but likely considered higher today. Katowice 2015 is 2nd, Cologne 2015 is 12th, Cluj-Napoca comes in last at 14th, MLG Columbus sneaking in at 7th, which may seem confusing, but there are some die-hard Columbus fans out there. Cologne 2016 at 6th, Atlanta 2017 at 3rd, Krakow 2017 ranks 13th as we are only looking at the team stickers, not autographs. Boston 2018 4th, London 2018 9th, Katowice 2019 5th, and Berlin 2019 10th, probably because of the hopium as is the most recent major and people wanted to profit off of their investments. Now I'm going to take these numbers and relate them to the current prices to show how these have aged well and some have not. I will take each team sticker capsule available and average out the profit if you were to purchase during the sale. All of these prices are in USD. And while these numbers roll out, you may be wondering, ptree, why use capsule averages instead of sticker averages? Well, that's because I'm lazy, so capsules are much easier to add up using my 50 IQ. And here are the averages, and as you can see, there's a bit of a yo-yo effect. It's easier to see with items post 2015 as all of the older items have gone up a significant amount, but there is a trend. You may have 1 or 2 bad or good investments in a row, but it doesn't go much further than that. It makes sense that a very profitable major would result in an overinvestment in the next major, but that's why we have these design rankings here. These stats right here create the foundation to my theory. Valve is clearly aware of their market and how it reacts to certain instances. They created it, of course they would. The biggest piece of evidence I have is Valve allowing refunds on RMR 2020 capsules, even the ones that were moved to storage units, after G2 put out a story essentially saying that RMR capsules would be removed without a sale. Valve were somehow aware of G2's Instagram story and decided to change their rules for refunds, knowing that people bought hundreds, potentially thousands, and they weren't going to open them, they were going to put them into storage units. If people still bought capsules to open like they did in 2014, this refund would have been a waste of time. Recently, the social media manager replied to OniPixel, a large CSGO streamer opening a Katowice 2014 capsule. Right there, there's some clear acknowledgement of insane sticker prices. This is a multi-billion-dollar market. I don't agree with people that think they're hands-off and don't care. But Stockholm and Antwerp really got me thinking, especially before Real was released. Surely Valve is aware that re-releasing nearly identical stickers would kill demand, ultimately cutting their cash flow. There has to be a reason. So let's try to decipher this. COVID hits in 2019 and basically everything is shut down in 2020, which means no majors. Well, how about we release a collection for teams that participated in the RMR qualifiers? This gives Valve some money, generates some brand recognition, and gives players some money as salary cuts across all of esports were starting to hit. We saw Cloud9 leave during COVID. 1xBet, who was a big sponsor in the CS space for many high-profile teams, were going bankrupt. And a multitude of teams around the Tier 2 to Tier 3 level dropped all of their players and never came back. This random sticker drop was also our first collection where capsules were sold at 25 cents US instead of the regular $1.20. Cheaper capsules equals significantly more capsules purchased, which would generate more revenue. This is still content for the fans. I'm sure they did this because they want to make up for the lack of majors, but it also serves to recoup lost revenue. But now we can fast forward to Stockholm. Why did PGL get another major after Krakow 2017 was one of the worst produced events CSGO has ever seen? Actually, why did PGL get 2 majors in CS, a major in Dota, the International, which is one of the biggest events in the world, and more events going forward? Interesting. Regardless, coming out of COVID, we had our first major in over 2 years, and to make up for it, our first borderless stickers since Katowice 2014. Now Stockholm was a bit of a failure. For us it was great, the stickers and capsules are very profitable, but for Valve, the players and the teams that take a cut of the sticker money, the revenue wasn't anything groundbreaking. Well, what happens next? 2 PGL majors in a row are allowed to release with nearly identical borderless stickers. Interesting. If the goal was to sell millions of these capsules so everyone gets a good payday sticking through COVID, as this was a time where teams were losing more money than usual, it worked. Due to the success of Stockholm, people did not hesitate buying into Antwerp, and when the sale came, the capsules were flying off the store page and into storage units. Moving along to our most recent Rio Major, we are greeted with some pretty atrocious stickers. Not the worst by any means, but compared to its recent predecessors, it's not even close. Rio is shaping up to be one of the worst selling major collections in the modern landscape, and I have to ask, was this all intentional? Here's how I see it. COVID hit the scene hard, and teams were having a tough time justifying their investment in the game with how high salaries can be. Stockholm was supposed to support the scene by selling millions upon millions, but the burnout from RMR 2020 resulted in a lower investment than expected. Valve allowed PGL to give them a nearly identical sticker, knowing that this was a one-time instance, and as we know, it was a massive success. Now that everyone is bathing in the millions of dollars they expected to see with Stockholm, it's time to follow the trend of old sticker design. There are significant assumptions being made in that roadmap, but let me ask you this. If Rio 2020 fails to sell a fraction of what Antwerp sold, do you think the next major stickers will be better or worse? We already know that questions are being asked due to the halo effect change that was made within a few days alongside the new sticker storage units that are quite expensive. Luckily, they were recently removed, so I don't have to tell you that you shouldn't buy them. At the time of this storage unit release, we already knew that Rio demand was significantly lower than Antwerp. This is not a small margin. This could be millions of dollars by the time the sale concludes. Between the yo-yo effect of sticker design over the years, and what seems to be a second attempt at a cash grab post-COVID, it would make sense that they would weather the storm with a bad sticker going into Rio, and they did. I hummed and hawed over buying into Rio, as the only way I see it being profitable is if supply is extremely low, like a fraction of Stockholm low. But at the same time, from Valve's perspective, if Rio doesn't sell, there may be pressure to release another set of desirable stickers to make up for lost revenue. Because of this, I personally will be buying into Rio capsules, not because I believe in them, not even a chance. Instead, I'm buying to hopefully keep my Stockholm and Antwerp investments safe, as I've been putting a considerable amount of money into these. If Valve releases another bad collection, especially with the lack of content added to the game recently, I stand to gain much more from my existing investments than from what I would lose from my Rio investments. Of course, open to your own interpretation, But if you're someone holding a bunch of Stockholm or Antwerp items, boosting the sales of Rio items facing a potential loss may be beneficial long term. But maybe one day we get real insight into what Valve aims to achieve in this market, so these speculations don't have to be made.